Hello everyone, welcome to Entertainment, and today I am officially reviewing the My Hero Academia chapter 239. Now, this to me is a very interesting chapter. Now, this chapter kind of brings an end to the whole League of Villains versus the Meta Liberation Army. And here's the thing, it ended in a way that you kind of expected. I mean, Shigaraki basically won in the end. I don't think any of us really expected him to lose because Horikoshi did set up that we were sort of going to see a fight between Deku and Shigaraki somewhere down the line. So none of us really expected him to lose. I mean, the one thing that I guess you say I was kind of disappointed by in this chapter is that I was kind of hoping that Redestro would sort of put up more of a fight, especially when he went into his big giant Hulk like form. And I was kind of expecting for him to put up more of a fight, especially when Shigaraki went all Super Saiyan. Which, speaking of which, let's talk about the first thing I want to talk about is Shigaraki and basically his new power. I mean, my God, Shigaraki just went from like power level 500 to power level 5,000. Like this guy's power now is insane. I mean, you even saw it today. I mean, or in the chapter, like he basically destroyed an entire city. Well, part of an entire city just by touching the floor. And I mean, that's insane. Like that's when you think about it, how do you beat this guy? Like if he can demolish part of this like large city, how do you take this guy down? And what's even worse is that it seems like with his new powers, it seems like he can disintegrate something instantly. Like he doesn't even need to put all five fingers now on it. Because remember, the rule with his quirk is that he needs to put all five of his fingertips on that object and it instantly disintegrates. But we've seen in an earlier chapter that just with just two fingertips, because remember, Redestro crushed one of his hands, like he pretty much lost two of his fingers, and all he even just by touching the other two fingers on it, he sorry about that, he started to like destroy Redestro's hand. But now it seems like, and it's crazy. I mean, now it's like if you think about it, now all he has to do is just put touch you with one of his fingers and that's it. You're gone. You're dead. So I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. And something else. Oh yeah, it seems like now you don't even need to like Shigaraki doesn't even need to touch you. If he touches anything like that's close to you and you're touching the thing that is being destroyed by his quirk, like that's it. You're gone. Like it starts to destroy you. I mean, that's why we saw Redestro having to chop off his own feet because he was starting to be decayed by Shigaraki's quirk. Like that was the only way for him to survive, which is he had to chop off his own feet. And to me, that's just it's crazy. Well, first of all, it's crazy that Shigaraki's quirk is this powerful now, but it's also crazy that Redestro was willing to chop off his own feet because it kind of tells you something about him. Like he's like, willing to slice off a part of his own body just to survive. I mean, not a lot of people have the balls to do that, but Redestro did. Um, I mean, it's Jesus, it's insane. And so after the fight ends, Redestro basically says, like, yeah, guess what? Me and my entire army, yeah, we're yours now. Like, we'll follow you now because, and it's interesting that he does that because, again, it's like I said in my previous video, um, Redestro, like one of the main his sort of purpose was to basically make it to where people who have quirks are free to use their quirks as they want, like no restrictions, just be you. And if you think about it, Shigaraki now has no limitations. He isn't restricted in any way. He's not restricted by the past. He's not restricted by the present. I don't even think he even cares about the future. Like he doesn't really like right now. He's let loose. He's doing whatever the fuck he wants. And the guy is like really, or according to to Redestro, he's liberated. If you think about that, he's like he is what he's like the embodiment now of what him and his group are trying to achieve. So it does kind of make sense that he would like surrender to him. And also, if you think about it, in a way, this could sort of lead Redestro to be liberated. You know, because now he doesn't have the stress of leadership on his shoulders, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing because yeah, it does liberate him, but at the same time, if you remember, his quirk is basically like he can take all of his built up stress and turn it into strength. So if he doesn't have that stress, the stress of leadership, then doesn't that kind of limit him when it comes to his quirk? It kind of makes him weaker, doesn't it? So well, there's that. So now Shigaraki, like this guy is terrifying. Like Shigaraki went from being some small time like misfit, but now he's like a genuine threat to the heroes and to society. Like he's an actual threat now. Like this guy has an army. If you think about it, it's not just a bunch of criminals. Like you have doctors, you have lawyers, you have politicians. This guy has a bunch of people on his side now. And think about it, if one of them is a politician, he could genuinely persuade people who maybe initially aren't with him to convince themselves like, okay, maybe this guy has something. It makes the guy so much more dangerous now. So something else I want to, and speaking of dangerous, I want to talk about how, because like I said before, Horikoshi kind of set up like a battle between Shigaraki and Deku in the future, and I just want to talk about considering where Shigaraki is now, at least in terms of power, and where Deku is now in terms of strength. If they were to go to head now, Deku wouldn't stand a chance. Like he genuinely wouldn't stand a chance against Shigaraki the way he is now. I mean, seriously, this guy, his power now is insane. I mean, it's gotten to the point where if you even touch the guy, you're dead. And Deku's main sort of like yeah, he does have the ranged attacks to where he can sort of like flick his finger and sort of descends the air pressure like and it hits his target. But if you think about it, all Shigaraki has to do is touch it, and that's it. It's gone. The attack is gone. We saw him do that with Redestro. So and yeah, he could use the black whip that we saw him use. But again, all Shigaraki has to do is touch it, and that's it. It's gone. Or it touches him, and that's it. It's disintegrated. Considering that's how his quirk kind of works now. So, I mean, unless one of the other quirks that Deku has, or he's going to end up having, the other six quirks other than One for All and Black Whip, unless one of them can let him, like, hurt Shigaraki, like, unless one of them gives him a way to sort of work around Shigaraki's quirk, um, yeah, Deku ain't winning. He's now winning. Not even a little bit. Like Deku now just wouldn't stand a chance, and I don't think anyone over on the hero side really stands a chance against Shigaraki at this point. I mean, unless they all gang up on him. But if any of them were to go up against him like 1v1, I don't know. I mean, I don't see any way for them to beat this guy now, especially if he were to have his entire army now backing him up. Yeah, like they don't stand a chance. I mean, here's the thing. It would be kind of interesting because if Shigaraki were to go up against the the hero quirk or the hero society now, if you think about it, if he were to go to UA, all he would have to do, because we've seen him do like what he just did in this chapter, all he would have to do is go near the building, put his hand on the ground, and that's it. The entire building would be destroyed. I mean, that would be it. Like that's it. Bye bye, you way. No, no more. No mas. So yeah, I mean Shigaraki and Deku, like Deku wouldn't even stand a chance. Like Deku would need a serious power up. Like he would need to power up to the point where like the guy would be able to move so fast and he'd be so strong that he would need to hit Shigaraki before Shigaraki even knows what's happening. And you'd need an insane amount of speed because during this fight you saw this guy's reaction time. I mean, it's insane. So you would need to move insanely fast to be able to even touch the guy, to be able to actually land a hit. I mean, it's crazy. So I mean, I have no doubt that maybe eventually we'll see Deku when he's finally like perfectly mastered, um, one for all, and not just one for all, but Black Whip too, and maybe the other quirks that he'll end up getting. I mean, and hopefully one of those quirks lets him, that gives him an advantage over Shigaraki. We can only hope. Now, I sort of briefly touched up on this, but I want to talk about Redestro surrendering to Shigaraki, sort of surrendering the Metal Liberation Army to Shigaraki. So here's the thing. To me, that makes it kind of it's a good thing in my opinion because first of all, like I said, it sort of frees Redestro. Like with this, maybe Redestro can finally get the stress of or the restriction of leadership and what what he has to be because I think we saw in this chapter like in flashbacks that Redestro was sort of um, raised up from childhood to think that he needs to be this and maybe now that when he doesn't have that stress on him maybe now he can finally be free to be who he is or to be who he wants to be and all of the stress um, can be put on Shigaraki's shoulders. Not that he gives a damn anyway. I mean, to him, uh, to Shigaraki. I mean, these guys are just like walking credit cards. Like they're just like, look, okay, buddy, we've been living in the forest for all this time. I mean, we've been broke. Like, okay, you got money. We need to go eat something. Okay, we're starving. We need to go eat something. So there's that. Um, Also, another reason why I love this is because at the end of the arc, if you notice that it was sort of a trend in My Hero Academia where at the end of each arc, the main villain of that arc was sort of like a one-off villain. And what I mean by that is that the villain would be introduced, the heroes would fight them, and then they would lose, and then we never see them again, with the exception of maybe Shigaraki and yeah, Shigaraki. I mean, if you think about it, Gentle, what was his name, Stain, even All for One, he was only seen for like that one arc where he fought All Might, and then he only made like brief appearances afterwards. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see him again. Maybe Shigaraki is gonna go and free him from the prison. And I know some people might think that, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And let me explain why. Because if you think about it, in this recent arc, or in these last few chapters, we saw that Shigaraki pretty much said, "Yeah, look, everything that happened in the past, fuck it, I don't care." And a part of that past is All for One, whom now we know his last name was Shigaraki, although we still don't know his first name. Here's the thing: I think that All for One knows that Shigaraki isn't gonna break him out of prison because if he does, I think he'd be disappointed because it would show that he's still in some way reliant on All for One, and that would kind of go against the development that Shigaraki has had these last few chapters, especially the last two or three chapters, to where he basically said, "Yeah, fuck it," and fuck it to his past, and All for One is a part of his past. So yeah, he doesn't care about that. So yeah, I don't think he cares. So I don't think he's gonna go and free All for One from jail. I don't think he's gonna do that, and I think All for One knows it, and I think that's why in a way, if you think about it, I think if you remember when All Might and All for One met in jail, uh, All for One kind of said, well, maybe he didn't say that there, but he did say that All for One after he was captured. that, All Might, you missed your chance to die because, and you might regret it because if you think about it, if Shigaraki goes to All Might now, and All Might, especially because he doesn't have his powers anymore, and he himself is dying, so this could be interesting. Is Horikoshi going to let All Might die the way he was originally meant to? Because he already said that he wasn't, because of his injuries, he wasn't going to last very long. Or is Deku going to see All Might die in front of him? Like, is Shigaraki going to go over and kill All Might? And are they going to see it? And because if you remember, and that's going to be sort of an interesting thing for, um, if you think about it, it could be interesting because if you think about it like this, if Shigaraki kills All Might, or Toshinori, since that's his real name, um, in front of Midoriya, and Midoriya gets pissed and tries to fight him, he's gonna get his ass kicked. Like I said, Midoriya now just doesn't stand a chance against Shigaraki. I mean, unless during this entire arc, Midoriya has been out there training and he's gotten better. Like maybe the next time we see him, because if you noticed, we haven't really seen Midoriya or any of the other heroes this arc. Like maybe when we're introduced to them next time, like maybe they're going to be, especially Midoriya, they're going to be more proficient with their quirks since that's what they've been working on. And if you think about it, this is going to be interesting for Midoriya's character because up to this point, Midoriya still looked up to All Might. Like he still looks to him for advice. And if All Might dies and he dies at the hands of Shigaraki, then instead of dying, naturally the way he was supposed to because of his injuries, then it might make things interesting for Deku because Shigaraki now has pretty much cast off all of his shackles, so to speak. Like he's not specifically tied to All for One anymore. Like right now, he's sort of his own person. Like he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't care what All for One wants. He doesn't care what the League of Villains want. He's just doing what Shigaraki wants. And Shigaraki just wants to destroy everything or everything that bugs him. And right now, what bugs him is All Might. I mean, he may not be the number one hero anymore, but maybe he'll kill him out of spite. Because why not? Or, and if you think about it, that sort of could be interesting for Deku's character because it could make you wonder. Okay, you don't have All Might anymore, right? You don't have All Might anymore. So now what? Like, if you don't have the guy, like your mentor is gone right now, and you need to figure shit out for yourself. Like, you need to start relying on yourself now. You need to start believing in you. And that could be sort of what motivates Izuku moving forward to, um, you know, mastering all for one for all, and mastering Black Whip and all of those other quirks. Like that could be what triggers it. That could be what moves him forward, which is the death of All Might. Again, of course, this is just speculation, but that's just me. And yeah, again, I love that Redestro is not a one-off villain. I like that. Hopefully, we're gonna see him again moving forward. I don't know what exactly Horikoshi plans on doing with him, but I am excited because I love Redestro. I'm happy that he's going to stick around. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much. If you've listened to this long, thank you so much, and I hope you really enjoyed this. Tune in next time to see my review of chapter 240. Um, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like button and please subscribe. Please make sure you're subscribed because YouTube's fucked up right now for some reason. And if you want to support this channel even more, please consider donating to my Patreon. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. Anyway, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye.